true love gives birth to the Christ consciousness and has a multiplying and increasing effect, and gives rise to an expansion of the radiation of love from the two centers of love wherever they go, moving out to bless families, cities, worlds, dimensions. You know how it is when you are in the presence of people who are genuinely of affinity with one another, how they radiate. And when people fall in love, they manifest back below that something special has happened to them. But the thing is crossing the bridge so that it is eternal. So this radiance goes out and begins to go through, move all through all the heart chambers, the personal, the family, spreading out. The energy spreads through all four heart chambers when people are very connected. And they desire to benefit, to express their love through benefiting the world. Okay. So it becomes very evident that our first part in the work of work is to practice freeing, right now, right where you are, all the persons we love. Every single one we must free, because we know that that which is ours by divine right, we do not have to manipulate to hold. And out of our love, we would not restrict another life by holding on to them. And that which is ours will not leave us. Yet, if it isn't mine, no matter what I do, no matter how many times I come back to control that person, it will never be working for me. I'll have slight gains at best, and then I'll fall back. So the first thing, we must do this. We must free every person we love, knowing that as we free them, we are blessed and enriched, and they are. All right? So this is the way we rid ourselves of fear and selfishness. Selfishness is born of fear and separation. And greed and materialism and wanting things our way, and to replace this empty, hurtful, harmful scenario with higher paradigms of mutuality, affinity, appreciation, support, freedom, wanting always, as we said before, what is best in God for that other. No matter what personal desire we must give up, no matter what sacrificial lamb we may be called in the test of love to give up for that person's well-being. And if we are willing, it's a secret of release, we're willing to give up, then all that is ours comes. So, because we have fulfilled the law of love. So always wanting what is best in God for the other, no matter what, and restoring our own knowing. See, if your own knowing of your precious, irreplaceable Godhood is restored in you, and each one is knowing that he or she is a unique and irreplaceable manifestation of God, a ray of God, shot forth by God into expression with a definite, divine, whole, complete, perfect purpose to accomplish. Why would we then be busy trying to hold on to others to know our own good? So when we resolve that basic separation by knowing that each one of us here is like the facets of the crystal, we are all the radiance of God. Each one of us has a special purpose to unfold. Each one is as important can be to the Creator. Then our sense of wholeness is restored to us. So this is something else. And, how can we draw or attract or magnetize the supreme love of our lives if we don't know that we have special meaning in the heart of God? that herein we are valued, and that not only that, we have a purpose. Each one of us has a purpose, no matter where we are, no matter what our involvements, whether it's family, world, wherever it is, we have a special divine purpose to unfold. So when will you meet your immortal life? When you know these things, and when you are living according to your purpose, living according to your heart's calling, doing what you are inspired to do, regardless of whatever out there, and then you're like a mighty magnet that draws naturally, without any force, everything that is right for the perpetuation of your life, your eternal life. So I just want to share, I think I'm going to share the story with you, and we'll have a short meditation to ground this information, and then maybe we can take like a 5-minute stretch. Okay, well, I just want to share this story with you because I just think it's so great, and it's about, it really is all about unconditional love, which is all these attributes we're talking about: freeing the other, wanting the best for the other, you know, assisting the other, supporting. That, has anybody seen the film Sense and Sensibility here? Okay. I saw this film, and I said, and I was working on Divine Romance, and I said, this is such, at the level of Shakespeare, you know, it is such a wonderful story that reveals the powers of unconditional love. Here it's so metaphysical. So just briefly in the story, what you have is every character, you know, it's a story of relationships, and every character is called upon, you know, has attraction toward one person. And their heart is really fixed on that person. And each character through the course of this drama is called upon through circumstances to take their initiation, which means to pass through a phase of love, and was purified, so to speak, in the fires of love. And it really is a story of love's victory and all. When you abide by the laws of love, you get everything. Okay? So each character had deep love toward a particular other, which they had to renounce or to release for the sake of the well-being of the other. And in each case, in fully executing the release, each one got the other. For instance, just to describe this dynamic to you, Edward, the heroine, falls in love with a fellow called Edward, and they're love at first sight. And he has to go away because he's made a commitment 5 years before to marry a woman that he doesn't love now. It was a youthful meeting, but he had made a commitment. So in spite of the love for her, he had met the love of his life, and in spite of the love for her, he went off to fulfill his commitment. Now, his family disowned him and was going to disinherit him and leave him penniless. So the woman that he loves, who also loves him, not only does she let him go to do what he needs to do, she also, when she finds out that he's been rendered penniless by the family who don't like what he's doing, she finds a place on an estate for him and his wife-to-be to live. That is how deep her love was for him. And she knew that he had to fulfill something. So this is not easy. You can imagine ourselves in a state like this, right? But you could, as the characters were playing this, you could see the high consciousness kind of running through, of unconditional love, running through all the characters. And as a result, what happened is very near the wedding, the wife who was to-be, who was not really the right person for him, was not really the fulfillment of his heart, fell in love with his brother. So quite naturally, all the promises that were made that, weren't really the truth of love, the evolution of love, were all just dissolved. And so the two were free to be with one another as they should be, and in right and perfect ways without harm to anyone. It's like natural law kind of took care of the whole thing. And then there was another, this just tells you one other thing about the power of love. One other character in the story, the younger sister, was having a crush on a, really handsome guy who'd like come into town, and she really went for him, and she was loved. She was really genuinely loved by another fellow, the Colonel. So the Colonel sees the one he loves falling in love with this guy who's just passing through, basically, really. And he had, this has to do with empathy. And in his past, he had a place where a woman that he had loved, he had forsaken because his family said she didn't have money. So he never followed through in his heart with the woman that he loved. He never broke the family code or any of that, and she died in poverty. And he realized that to try to stop the one he loved from experiencing what she needed to experience, the attraction to that other that he might be causing, he would rob her. He would cause frustration. He might cause to rob her of something that she needed to go through. So ultimately, this sister released the one who had come to pass, right? And the Colonel, in his steadfastness, was, they were united in love and in true love. But, you can see through this whole scenario how everyone was operating by unconditional love, by the laws of freedom, and how each one got their own at a place where they could treasure it and honor it and know what it meant to them. And that this is so profoundly mystical, because how many times do we go through these things? But you've got to know that if you abide in that consciousness of love, all good shall be yours and shall not be withheld. And that's the promise. Okay? So, what I'd like to do, just in closing this section, then we'll take a stretch and come back and maybe talk about a few more things before we break today, is a meditation. And the reason I want to do this is because, it's one thing to hear the information, and that's very good for the lifting of our minds, but we need to be able to ground it. And meditation is the way that we ground these principles that we've just talked about. Okay. So let us all get very comfortable, very still. Going within the within to the sacred place of the Most High, to the summit of consciousness. And now let us all gently together rise out of our body being into the vastness of divine substance. And as we arrive to the uppermost temple, we see a golden, luminous path. And we walk down this path to an opening marked relationships. Let us flow through this opening, each one of us. And now from the high place in mind, review the scene in our lives right now. As you overview the scene in your life and all the persons, places, and conditions, most particularly in your romantic life, what do you see that you are now working on perfecting? What is the current challenge that you have telling you that you need to do, that you need to add unto yourself? What quality do you need to include to be right in this situation? What aspects do you need to transform? Listen deep within, remembering all the while the great consciousness you aspire to attain. Now, once the way has been revealed, see yourself moving in the midst of your relationship, acting, being the higher option, creating goodness wherever you go, and drawing energy from the higher option of heaven's heart and mind, energizing yourself of heaven's mind so that you are complete success. And as you do this, know that this is you profoundly evolving, and promise now to practice the wisdom gained in all your ways. Now we give thanks to all the persons in this scene, and we withdraw now again, traveling down the luminous hallway of light and the timeline. And we go into a new room, a new opening that is entitled Release and Purification. Here within yourself, as you think of your entire past, ask yourself, what have I gained from past loves? And acknowledge that you have. And now ask yourself, how can you release these loves, that they may be free from negative bondage and repetition? Do it now, however you do it, in absolute gratitude for their presence in your life. Thanking them for the many parts they have played, and letting them know they may go now, that your way may be free. Now, as we move further into this opening, we approach a freestanding door that is the doorway of purification and divine light, where all of our emotions now shall be taken up and transmuted into the perfection of light. As we flow through this doorway which opens unto us, a magnificent temple awesomely appears in the very center of the cosmos, in which the most powerful forces of the universe are centered. And we walk into the center of this temple, which is overflowing and radiating with the cleansing and healing currents, radiating in every direction. And as we all gather in the center now, the currents of massive sweeping light sweep over, in, around, and through every atom, every cell of being, breaking up all congestion and all of inner and outer bodies, memories, chakras, and thought fields, till there is only radiant God. Now these magnetic energies intensify and focus and ground in our hearts and flow as a fiery light, washing through every chamber, breaking up old dark clusters and thought forms. And we breathe the breath of God, and we are renewed on life in every atom of our being. We are powered and transcended of the past. And now flow, radiant, in deepest gratitude to our beloved Creator, who has made our way clear. And we flow to the last door, realizing now the past has been purified and we are cleared in every domain and dimension, and we are now free to enter into the mystical future, the great future for ourselves. Now moving down the hallway to the door marked your ascended future of love and increase. We pass through. We are astounded as we see what divine mind has in mind for each one of us here. As you are shown the picture of your good, note what qualities are being added unto you, within and without. And in this moment, a great master comes to you with a personal message of love. What is that message? You telepathically hear and listen. Now make this the deepest part of your being, absorbing all that is being said. Now thank the great Master of Light, who has transformed you, lifted you up, and given you new vision. And we say goodbye now with gratitude. And when you are ready, return to this mountaintop with your new promise and aspiration.